Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry. I'm totally behind the eight ball today. And not that that should be comforting, but the day started so many hours ago. I've already been on calls with people in Europe. So welcome. Let me just see what this is real quick. Perfect. Okay, great. Brian, happy Friday. Frida, good morning. Everyone else. I look like a mess. So I was on a live earlier. Well, not a live, like a Zoom earlier. And I looked at myself. I'm like, I look horrible. And the gentleman's like, no, you look great. I'm like, no, I know when I look horrible. And it might be the lighting. And the shirt might not be as white as it once was. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so what's going on? What do we have? So a question that I had been getting a lot is all of the different programs, are they all being directed to RHINO? And the answer is yes. In fact, I answered this question earlier with the gentleman I was on live with. And what I said was, my time, my being, Anthony, is completely donated to RHINO. Anything I do, in fact, if I go get a second job as a grocer at the shop right down the block, my paycheck goes to RHINO, because everything is RHINO, because that is what leads to the next stuff. So RHINO Wealth, RHINO Email, Promptology, all these new things that we're rolling out goes to RHINO. And the reason I had that conversation was because if you take a look at the email this morning, you'll see that the partner number is up to 349. And of that number, only 342 are RHINO. 7 of them are RHINO Wealth. And RHINO Wealth has already kicked off and done quite well. In fact, we had our first recommendation. I think it was Monday. The company's name was AbbVie. They were 20 red and green, which not everyone knows what that means, but in the world of RHINO Wealth, we do know what that means. And the by yesterday, everyone sold at 145% net profit, which is actually quite good. And for those that want to see it, I did post it in the RHINO Wealth Facebook group, just because I wanted to draw some attention, gain some awareness that we're doing it. So in real time, like we always do, I put the recommendation in there as well. So if you are members of RHINO Wealth, actually, let me see if I could just grab the link. If I was a link, where would I be? Well, I'd be up here first of all. Let's see, RHINO Wealth. And it's funny because it used to be called RHINO Premier, so the link says RHINO Premier. But here is the link, and I believe I have it on automatic acceptance. So if you just go there, you could join the group. Now, what you'll see is that I did post the the research in real time earlier this week. And because people saw that, we had a couple of people join, which is fine. A couple is, it's not really our attention at the moment. But if you're interested in stock market trading and things of that nature, please join. That would be great. So the point of me saying all this is that RHINO member number will continue to increase as anybody accepts a recurring offer, whether it's RHINO Wealth or RHINO whatever. Which also means that average plan number is probably going to be going to move lower, because all of those offers are $5 a week. We're not charging anyone anything more than $5 a week, because we believe that we'll be able to get, sorry, I'm congested, get scale and get a large amount of people. And we don't, we're not interested in gouging people, contribute to the platform. It's almost like, hey, you're here, thanks for contributing. So you will see that RHINO average plan move lower, and I think you did. Right now, I believe it's like 1690, 1692, but on 349, which is good. All right, let's get to the more important stuff. So in the email today, we went ahead, and you know what? I'll do it after this. We went ahead and resent for joining RHINOHUB. And as you'll see in the email, we're now posting numbers of RHINOHUB. What is the amount of people in it? Because that is going to be the most important number. Again, RHINOHUB is where everything is. And then once you're in RHINOHUB, it's what kind of conversions do we have that allows our individuals or allows our members to say, okay, I do want to join RHINO Wealth. I do want to join RHINO. I do, like they're getting married. The point is, the higher the number of RHINOHUB equals the higher the number of aggregate amount of people that are participating in other programs. The math of it is, what's the conversion, right? If you have 100, like let's say 100 people join RHINOHUB, and out of those 100, one person joins Rhino Wealth, well, our conversion is 1%, which means we could then do the math. If we have 1 million people join, 1% of 1 million is 10,000, right? So we'll be able to figure out the conversion percentage. As of now, which is actually really unfair, because RHINOHUB just launched yesterday, and the 7 Rhino Wealths, so you can't really take that number. So we'll start doing the conversions, let's say Monday, because that's really a fair assessment. So once we know that number, though, that's gold, because once you know that number, then you could calculate all your different ad spend and all your different investment and what the affiliate networks look like, and then you could just scale to the moon and back. So we are very methodical in how we're moving forward. And I was on the call with an investor earlier, and the investor was actually not pleased. Like, they were just like, oh, I thought this would happen by now, and I want this, and I need to go put a roof on my house, and blah, blah, blah. And I say blah, blah, blah because I'm not belittling, right, what the investor said. I'm not belittling all the things they have to do in their life. I am, however, commenting on that I have things in my life I need to do too. Now, that's not to say, well, Anthony, you're not equals, right? Like, he or she gave you money, you have expectations, you need to live up to them. I'm totally cool with that. Like, that I get, right? Like, I put myself always in the position that I'm accountable to you, right? Like, I work on behalf of Rhino for all that are in Rhino. Like, that's not lost on me. What is lost on me sometimes, and I actually, after the call, hey, Abdul, messaged the investor, and I said, today only matters to today because today is today. Today will be yesterday. And if you, and I know that sounds like funny, and I even said, I'm not playing with words on purpose, but all the things that you want to do today, right? Like, I need money to do this, so I want it right now. At the sacrifice of what, right? So like, Rhino can do a couple of different things. Rhino can go ahead and cut a whole bunch of corners and try to make as much money as possible as quickly as possible. Or Rhino can lose its big ambition and decide that where we are right now is good and try to build out as many membership accounts as possible and try to squeak out a couple of thousand every single week and pay everyone back like $10 a week, right? All of which would be net profitable, right? Like, we can do that. I can promise you my standard of living would rise exponentially if I didn't reinvest every single resource, financial, time, etc., into building Rhino to the vision I want to build it to, or that I've promised that I've committed to building it to. In fact, when you take a look at things, do you know how much it costs every single day to support the Rhino market? A lot. Do you know how much it costs to have the payroll that we have with the experts that we have? A lot. Do you know how much time it costs to go ahead and take calls last night that were till 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock the night before while my daughter is sleeping in my arms? A lot. And it's not that I cry about it. I think that's amazing. Like, I hope that my daughter gets older and remembers that her dad, loved her so much that he held her while he was on the phone, but at the same time loved his family so much and loved the people that he worked with and was accountable to so much that he didn't say, oh, well, it's family time and hang up the phone. Like, he was on the phone, he was with the person. I hope my son grows up and sees that while he was sitting with his mother on the couch and waving to me while he sees me go from room to room, because I'm holding and cradling my daughter so that she could sleep while I could be on the phone. And all of these things are real time, and I love them. I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. It's the most beautiful thing for me. That being said, the vision that we need to get to, the big goal, requires that everything we do to be so thoughtful, to be so careful, to be so carefully crafted, to be so aware of all of our surroundings. And what I mean by that is, it's very easy for a company to say, oh, well, we listen to our customers, right? But that's not really honest, because you listen to what customers, and are your customers comfortable in telling you what they want to tell you? It's like having children. If you go ahead and yell at your son every time he gives you bad news and then say you listened to him and how come he didn't tell you the problem he was having at school, Or you conditioned him to always want to hide bad news because you would yell at him. Therefore, these parents that have kids that like die of drug overdoses where they're like, we just didn't see it coming. I have very little empathy for that, right? And now, mind you, I have two brothers that died of drug overdose. And I blame who I blame for it, but you don't hold the blame. You don't, like, I understand why, I think I understand why it happened. But there's so many variables to it. So when you have somebody who is reaching out or trying to reach out and you ignore them or you belittle them and then they don't reach out at a later date, was God so bad to you as a parent, or did you kind of not do the right thing? And that goes even further than that, right? So if, for instance, you're running a company and one person speaks up and you kind of give them a snide remark, what is the message you're sending to everyone else? Well, I don't want to be embarrassed with that snide remark, so I'm going to keep my opinion to myself. In which case, that individual builds a certain level of resentment that they're either being nasty at one point, or they're quick to be upset, or they're quick to say, you know what, the good times are good, let me get out of here. And the point of all this is that is what we call culture. And that culture has been like DNA of RHINO since day one. And all of that takes a lot of work, because all of that requires how many hours that I have to invest in always being available, always talking out publicly, always accepting criticism, then changing things because it was a good idea, publicly making mistakes and then correcting the mistakes to show that we are capable of being humble, being accessible, being competent, being accountable. And see, the thing is, there's not a book for that, right? Like, you don't open a book and like, okay, how can I go ahead and trick people to think I'm accountable? No, it takes time. We've been doing this for like 5 years. In fact, for the last however long, you've seen me every single day. In fact, when I take a look at the camera, I think I look terrible today. When you look at the camera, you're like, I see you every day, and you look the same, but it looks like you haven't had a haircut in like the last 3 days, right? Like, that's how close we are together. And the point of me saying all of this is that when a particular investor is a little upset that they thought things would be moving quicker, well, the inference is, hey, I want this, go get it done. And if anyone believes that I'm going to go ahead and say, oh my God, you're right, you as a fully grown, reasonable adult that used your own money to invest in a startup because you believed that the sky was the limit, because you loved the visionary and you loved the founder and you believed in his work ethic and you believed that one day you would reach this big, big goal. Well, the other side of that is the reason why your reward can be so high is because your risk level is actually kind of high too, right? Like, if you want to invest in something super conservative, go buy a bond, right? Like, the US government is going to pay their bonds. But you're going to get like 1% because it's so safe. Everyone knows it. You only get 1%. With RHINO, our RHINO bucks was 1 penny in November 2021. It's now $2.05. That's what, I don't know, 205,000 times return. Now, anything that has that high return also has that high of risk, and you know what? There's a lot that we've done that actually, if we didn't make decisive decisions, could have really taken us out. But the most valuable thing that RHINO has is that everyone that's a part of RHINO knows we're going to get there. Because Anthony, I don't want to curse, but if anyone for even a second thinks that like I will take a shortcut to like all of a sudden be like, oh, hey, that was a good idea yesterday, I want to take my computer, throw it out the window, right? Like, that'll never happen. So the point of it is that when I'm pushing forward, I'm doing it, quote unquote, damn the torpedoes. My personal financial life, my personal life, my time, my this and that is all under assault. And that's fine because I wear it. I'm going to continue moving forward. I'm going to continue moving us forward. I don't care. I'll die, right? Like my epitap's going to be Anthony succeeded with RHINO, or Anthony died trying to succeed with RHINO. Like, those are the only two outcomes. That's it. Like, there's only two outcomes. So I have like a poor sense of empathy for individuals like that. And I love them, right? Like, I'm not nasty to anyone. I appreciate everyone for who they are and understand where they're coming from. And it is ingrained that in my role, I do need to also understand people's roles and where they're coming from. I have to be above it. So I always am, right? Like, I was on the phone like, yeah, no, I understand. We're going to do it. But then after the phone call, I want to take it and throw it out the window. Because I don't know how to explain it. It'll happen when it happens. Because when you're inventing something that doesn't exist, for you to believe that I have like an exact date and time is kind of like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like you are certifiably insane, right? Like if you think that inventing something, and by the nature, something that's never happened ever, that you have an exact date and time for it, well then I have some suggestions for you. The lottery, betting on the Super Bowl, stock market. There's a lot of great places where you can use that skill set and make yourself $1 billion if you happen to know exact dates and times. And if you do, share with us. I would love to make Rhino Psychic, right? Starring whomever. More so to the point, this is me just kind of venting out loud, but also I'd like when our rhinos see, okay, I'm a normal person. There's a thing where it's like if you only see people in the good times, then like how well do you know them? But to see somebody when they're visibly, venting about something, you learn a lot about them, right? Like you understand and learn their values, how they speak about someone. Do they go behind someone's back and just say something out loud? What's their true passion? How dismissive are they? And it's not that I knew that before I did this, but embedded in me is I want everyone to know Rhino as a whole. And if that means that I'm going to vent to a camera rather than taking this camera and throwing it out a window, I think there's value in that. So anyways, tomorrow and Sunday I'll be working a lot because I actually need to finish the whole 21-day curriculum for RHINOHUB, which is starting Monday for the Salesforce Designer position. Now, mind you, there's like 16,000 job listings for it, so anyone that passes the certification can get it. I need to make sure that I have a path for the person that wants to get the job and the person that wants to start the agency and post that they can do the job, so that everyone can see step A leads to step B, day 3 to day 4 to day 21, and we could actually show at least a couple of people successful in saying, hey, 21 days ago I was a grocer, now I have a $100,000 a year salary. And I did it for free, thanks Rhino, right? Also, the sample of the day 1 and day 2 schedule I put in the email is just that, it's a sample. There is more I need to do to it. Like for instance, where it says find 30 minutes to do mindfulness technique or something, I don't think anyone knows what that means. I don't even think I know what that means. But I would know what it means if I was like, here, listen to this yoga song or listen to this meditation song and close your eyes and sit, Indian style, right? Like, I don't know. But it would actually let you know, like, okay, this is what we're talking about. Because the point is, and I think the world has proven this in a really disgusting way as of late, that if you say something loud enough and repetitively, at least half the people will just listen to you. And I think that's something that could be really good, and that's something that could be really bad. And I think that comes from when we're children, right? Like when an authoritative position says, don't touch the fire, you're like, okay, that's my mother, don't touch the fire. Like she probably knows, enough to know that. And I think that some people have lived either a comfortable life or a non-confrontational life where you can listen to media enough times, and if they say the sky's purple, you're like, oh my God, the sky's really purple. That being said, the natural way that we learn is that when you believe the person that's teaching you, and repetition allows it to set in, where there's a clear-cut path. So I don't want to leave anything up to interpretation. When I say we're going to spend 30 minutes doing mindfulness technique, I'm going to put the Zoom on. I also have to schedule all the Zooms as well. But I want to show by example. I want to offer how to do it for 2 reasons. One, I think I could improve my life. I think I could probably meditate and do mindfulness techniques and eat better and start exercise routines. So RHINOHUB really is like, all right, I need to do this for me, but I can't find time to do it. But I want to do it for me because it's a good idea to do it. So why don't I create a platform where everyone does it and everyone's happy about it? Hey, Joe. No. I've even canceled my own team meetings because I'm woefully behind. But I want to. I think we're going to have it started Monday, maybe, because we have to get the hub going. Or maybe I'll just record a message. But our RVPs are really important because the affiliate platform is a big component of it. So Joseph, please don't kill me, or kill me. Oh my God, that was horrible. Please don't hate me, right? And he won't, because Joe's like kind of the best person in the world. Greeting from Palm Bay. Hey, Deborah's in the house. Okay, so anyway, I think I'm just going and going, but there's a lot that needs to be done. So I want to be able to offer someone where they have 21 days and they could look at it day one, all right, at 7:43 p.m. And I also need to make two different curriculums for the person that does have a job and the one that doesn't have a job. And when you're thinking to yourself, well, Anthony, this sounds like a lot of work. Well, it is. Duh. Anthony, you're doing this for free. Yes, I am. Duh. But Anthony, why are you doing so much work for free? Because I believe that when RHINOHUB allows everyone to see what's going on, people will naturally look to start participating in other parts of the platform because they will see how much value is being given over here. It's almost like a sentence I used to say in the stock market when I was talking to someone and they were giving me a hard time. Like I wanted to bring someone on as a client and they're like, blah, blah, blah. And after like 7 different conversations I had with them, I'm like, do you understand how hard I'm working for you and you're not even a client of mine? Can you imagine how hard I would work for you as a client of mine? And that's a powerful sentence that I remember would actually work. The individual would say, and not because it was like a trick sentence, right? It was a real sentence. The person would say, you know what, you're right. Like, you don't work for me and you've been working this hard. I can't imagine, you know what, you are someone I need to have on my team. So it's with that mindset that I believe I can outwork anyone. That's because all of us have 24 hours in a day, right? So it's a really even playing field. If I work 24 hours of them, then I'm gonna outwork you or tie you. That nobody can outwork me if I work 24 hours. And that's really comfortable. Like, it's physically impossible to outwork me. You could tie me. I'm reading the entire Bible in a year every day. That's really cool. In fact, actually, we have an AI platform that is Bible-centric. So you can type into it like, oh, I'm having a tough day and the fish I ate wasn't good. And the Bible will come up with a couple of passages that are directly for you and what you wrote, right? Like it's able to go through the Bible, find the passages that best relate to what you're saying, and offer you, Bible passages that might be able to help you. I'll actually get it to you later, Brian. Actually, no, you're on RHINOHUB. Go to the AI stuff, and you'll see AI Bible. Okay, and you know what the problem is? I love being here with you guys. I'm like, I don't want to go. How about we do a joke? Let's see. All right, so hold on a sec. All right, so let's do screen share. And I have a call at 10:30, but I'm just like, let's do something fun. Okay, so let's go to Rhino Street. All right, so tell me a funny joke about rhinos and cows. What did the rhino say to the cow? Move over. Oh my God, I swear, I'm like a child. I really am. Now I'm in such a good mood. So I love everyone. Have the best weekend. I will see you tomorrow. And, I will always deliver. If I'm a week or two late, please understand that it's not me because I'm working. If I'm a week or two late, it's because it's going to be that much better. So, and remember, I always know if I'm going to be a week or two late, right? If you see me a week or two late, it's because I'm choosing to go ahead and take the harder route that's more valuable to everyone in the face of knowing that some people might be individually and short-termly disappointed because the goal is to produce the bigger thing. Don't ever forget, it's always easier for me to take a shortcut. Like that's not hard, but I'll never do that. So if I'm a week or two late, you're welcome. All right, love everyone. All right, bye.